Oh, ho, ho, ho. Here we are, here we are. And I had switched off the sound already. Ha 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 ha. You can't fool me. Bzz, bzz. Hey, listen. Oh, so what's this? Hey Jacob, what up? What up? What up? How's it going? Throw those gang signs. They have changed something in OBS. They updated OBS and now it looks weird. Anyways. So I spent a little bit more time yesterday painting on that guy. Just defined stuff a little bit. Still lots to do on him in the sense of getting it where I want it to go. But time is of essence, and my time is running out. So we got one character left to do, which is a civilian townfolk. And I think any cowboy story needs a bartender. So I'm thinking of doing a bartender or the doctor. I think a doctor would probably be a better solution, and because and that would be the last character, and then I have to work on all the characters. Hey, Örjan, Captain Boss. What up, yo? Throw some gang signs to Boss because he's the boss. Hey, Hosier, thanks for the auto host, even though you're not here, but thanks for the host. So that's the idea. Maybe a doctor, lots of bags. I'm thinking a traveling doctor. Let's have it on maybe an old woman, for the sake of gender evenness. An older woman with glasses, lots of bags, rolled up sleeves. Can't be wearing a dress because she's a traveling doctor, so she has to have some sort of riding outfit, probably. White shirt, gray hair, apron, a donkey. A donkey is just gonna set me up to work more to get that donkey right, so let's skip the donkey. Hey, Voodoo Breakfast. What up? Hey, Chiltron, how's it going? Alright, let's start the timer. Hey, Miller Finn. Hey, Tormod, how's it going? Yeah, so the right one here, I spent a little bit time yesterday on it. You can see it. Hey, Nareda, how's it going? Nice to see you back. So, doctor. Maybe she's syringes. Maybe she uses a lot of syringes. Let's have her standing kinda. I wanna find her before I start rendering the light. Let's have her standing with a syringe. Probably somewhere there. And let's have her kinda touching it, but not touching it like that. Let's flip the canvas. Type started yet. Hey Quentin. Elar. How's it going, Elar? I love saying your. For some reason, I'm seeing you, Elar, as a Spanish person. Like either Antonio Banderas or Salma Hayek. That's my internal image of you, Elar. Like some ridiculously gorgeous person. I mean, you gotta be for choosing a nickname like Elar. A voodoo breakfast, that's a medieval, and it's not Wild West at all. Um, so let's give her like an apron. I just want to sketch her out before I commit completely, okay? Bunch of things, really. Oh, I will attempted to say thigh highs, but bicep high, doctor gloves, bunch of things. Maybe like a worried look on her face. Um, let's don't have her a wide stance, but a together stance. Um, something like that. Okay, we got an idea. Salma Banderas, yeah. Oh, Elar, don't ruin my illusion in my head. Hey, Henrik Rosenborg, welcome back, yo. Thank you. It's one of the civilians, the town folks. I'm currently gonna make Town Folk 2, which is a doctor. I'm not keen on the pose. It's too forced. I think we got a good start here, though. I can kind of see where she's going. Um, I don't feel it's right yet, though. I think the bags on her back here is wrong. I don't think it'll work. I think we gotta have a smaller satchels, like that. Probably a doctor's bag. Maybe not a doctor bag on the floor, but maybe no, it gotta be on the floor. Like that. She needs. Uh, does she need a glass bowl or a face cover? Let's give her a face cover. It's easier to understand. Uh, she needs vials. She needs elixirs. All right. Hey Jacob, thanks for the auto host. Miller, really? That's funny. Okay, claim your character. Who's who? Okay, time to start painting the character a bit. I think I got a good start. Um, how do they hold it like that? Yeah, that's right. Like reverse grip. Maybe she needs to. Maybe she's syringing something out of a vial. Let's do that. I think that's a better idea. Her thumb can't be there. Then her thumb needs to be up there. All right. Henrik, why I prefer doing it? Um, there's no reason for it, and I don't do it professionally. Professionally, it's a lot more standardized line art designs. When design is approved, paint, you know, standard standard approach. I have used this technique though on some projects for clients when they need rapid prototyping. In that sense, like they need something fast and impressive to like tomorrow show something for the people with money, right? So then I kind of do this style a lot more because you can get a lot more suggestive results faster. Um, but in general, the reasoning behind me doing painting light is because I like it. It's a fun process. Uh, One of the reasons why I like it, I think, is I tend to be very like rigid in every day-to-day sketching. Like I'm not allowed a lot of freedom in the sense of style uh, when it comes to work. The work is always, you know, for pipeline you stick to a process, right, and to get it correct. The process you've done 1,000 times over and over, right? So that there's no surprises in the workflow. Everything is the way it is, and the client is very happy. All that jazz. But what I want to do is I want to practice this style. So this style becomes autonomous. This style becomes true and tested, so that it will be yet another process I can um, offer my clients if they need rapid prototyping of a concept, a quick mood concept. I can easily pull this style up and more or less do it on a meeting in front of them for 30 minutes, right? If need be. So what I'm doing is just kind of future proofing the workflow, um, trying it out so that um, that when that switch comes where I will be doing it for clients, it is just plug and play. You know, so far there is still a lot of mileage in terms of solving the puzzle of designing and solving the puzzle of implementation and variety and all these things. That's why I'm doing them. But all in all, I'm happy with the process. I'm happy with the look of painting with light. It's just a matter of mileage at this point. So that's why I'm doing it in a way where there's no impact on my day-to-day workflow. Um, I can still paint at night in my old style, not this style. I keep it to the warm-ups to play with technique, kind of keep me on my toes a bit. It's all in all just for fun, you know. Gonna turn into hamburger speed. What is hamburger speed, Chris? You crazy. You crazy. Hey, modelers. Modeluge. What up? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, to kind of talk more about this style, that's one of the reasons why practice makes perfect. Just repeating the style, experimenting with the style, coloring methods, detailing methods, all these things. It all adds up in the end. And if you don't try it, if you don't challenge it, um, it's so easy to fall into what's it called? So easy to fall into your own pitfalls, I guess. You become too comfortable. You don't evolve. For example, this sketching technique is great for paintings, moody paintings. Uh, Not so good for like middle of the day clear um, color conditions, but it's a great way to paint mood. I've used it many times, and you get a result really quick, and it works really well for concepts that doesn't necessarily aim for production. I mean, obviously you can use this for production, but it's a little bit more +1 in presentation than production stuff. But one doesn't exclude the other though. Just because it's moody and painterly, you can still model from this. It's just a matter of definition, and it's a that's one of the things I've been challenging myself with in terms of this style is how can I define things while keeping the painterly, moody, light only style, so that I don't become it doesn't become counterproductive. Like I don't want to having to paint away the mood for the sake of definition, or the other way around. Like I'm when I'm defining, I'm not like switching styles or focal points, or you know undo all the work I've done, like starting from scratch just because definition means whatever my mind think means, and crunching details and zooming in, and it's easy to get kind of engulfed in that, and lose the sight of what you actually need to do to communicate something instead of what you have to do. Oh, thank you very much, Modulus. Yeah, this style, like I mentioned, or I've been ranting about, is an experimental style, like painting light only. It requires a lot of fundamental skills, um, but it's a great way to get something down, and you can experiment a lot easier with it. It depends on how your mind works. If your mind works in lines, this style is going to be hard for you. But practicing kind of this style, if you're a line artist that's struggling to paint, I think it's a great way of pushing that aspect of it, like that thinking. Because you shouldn't use lines. You should go from big to small down, and it will stop you from painting with line art. I have a big issue with that because when I started learning, I loved line art. Like Feng Zhu, or however you pronounce him, was my like house god. He was the guy I was looking at for everything in terms of concept art, because when I started becoming interested in concept art in 2000, 2001, he was like the top of the heap, with his ballpoint pen and grayscale markers. And that was like, what? How can you draw like this? This is amazing. So I started looking into line art significantly, and like how to use lines and line weight, and I kind of reversed engineer a lot of it. And unfortunately, a lot of that have stuck. I've had issues with shaking it off because my innate style is definitely not line art. I appreciate uh, painting a lot more, but at the beginning of the career, or the learning concept art, I thought that line art was the way to go. Was like the best way to get a job. But little did I know, the best way to get a job is do what you love. And I quickly realized that after like a year of trying techniques and figuring things out, and then I realized, like, nah, I like the chaos. I like painting. I like drawing with volume instead of drawing with lines. Um, but I also enjoyed lines. But most of my comfort is in painting volumes. So I've been experimenting over the years and testing, and a lot of it is where I'm happiest is painting brushstrokes and stuff like that, molding a volume rather than defining it with boundaries, like carving a statue. That's my like natural painting style. and not drawing the lines around the arm, but carving the arm. You know. Jacob Mobley, yeah. I mean, line art is fantastic. I love line art, and I'm really like impressed by people who do line art really, really well. It takes so much practice, and you have to be so used to the technique that you kind of craft as you're doing line art. And because over the years I've been doing line art professionally, but the way I do the line art professionally is not comic style, you know, like perfectly weighted lines and all these things. It's more like clean, readable lines for production. So my line art game is, you know, like not the professional inker of for comics at all. You know, those people are amazing that just do ink all day. It's crazy. Chris Taleros, yeah, yeah, yeah. I did it. I've done it. If you remember, over the years with warm ups and testing this technique out, I used different colored backgrounds with different colored lights, using uh, correction layers as a couple of correction layers on top to paint underneath. All these things. So yeah, I have. It's really good fun. You can get some really cool results that way, and a lot of interesting ways of entertaining yourself as you're painting, because the easy way to go with digital is black and white. But if you set up the situation or scenario beforehand, it can allow you to create a lot more expressively, you know, by having correction layers on top. I'll show you what I mean, but you probably know, but whatever, I'll show you. So by having a desaturation layer, set the color on top, you can then go, uh, you know, you can set up a palette however you want, um, with how many palette different kinds of changes you want on top. Um, let's put it like that, right? Um, where is the pipette? There's the current and below, current and below. So now, like if I sample black and white, I can sample anywhere in this picture, and I won't paint with the color. I will paint with the saturation. Like, look, I'll sample the yellow hair and paint, and I switch off the layers on top. It's still going to be grayscale. So now I can paint and sample freely in the painting, but I will be running the correction layers on top, um, with all the curves and so on, and I'll get treatment to it automatic. And it's a fun way of making painting in grayscale a lot more interesting. And that way also you can have layers, I mean levels, changes, you know, so that if you paint in the full value range, you can have a like a mask on top that limits your value range, so you can't use the full value range regardless of how much you try, because you're kind of capping it on top of everything, just like these color correction layers. And that way you can also have some cool results by painting and using photos and so on. Hey, Susan Helmik, thanks for the auto host, even though you're not here. Much appreciated. love is appreciated. Cheers for that. And for those who don't know, Suzanne Helmig is running a Kickstarter. I don't have the URL to her Kickstarter, but if you Google Suzanne Helmig Kickstarter, that's her name, you'll get it. She's doing this novel called Caldera, and she's currently running it. Jacob, that's cool. Yeah, I really enjoy the kind of classic ink on paper. It's a lot of fun. One wrong move though, and you're done. That's not fun. Yeah, so setting like these correction layers up is a lot of fun. And if you're not happy with it, for example, you can do color lookups. You can do whatever you want. Even now, if I would paint with this color lookup on top, I can paint. I'll go back to the layers underneath, and now I paint. I can still sample, and it will still blow out the values as the color lookup does at the top. It's a really fun way of doing things. And you don't need to worry about anything other than just paint with black and white like normal. You can sample it freely. You can do whatever you want. And you get fun results. Oh, there we go. There's the Caldera link. Cheers, Henrik. Henrik Rosenborg. Oh, yo, you guys are not seeing the correction layers. Let me move that out. So at the base, there is hue and saturation desaturated, set to grayscale, like full desaturation and set to color. And then on top is just the color balance and the curves, just for the sake of adding curves to it. And the color balance is just light and shadow set to temperature. It's very basic. And the most important, if you don't want your values corrected, is to put all the layers to color, because then you're gonna only affect the hue, not the value. But if you want value changes, you can just do that as well. Hey Vonda, you're back. Captain Jetlag. Ooh. Awesome. Throw up some gang signs. Welcome to 30-minute warm-up, peoples. Henrik Rosenborg, yeah, absolutely, you can. And what also cool, which James Zapata showed me, was you can do multiply and alt click between multiply and the layer, and if you fill that multiply layer and link layers on top, you're gonna paint through the multiply. It's complicated, but it's cool. Me and James, we traded on stream. We traded these little techniques and got some really cool results out of it. It's fun to try to hack a little bit. Really good fun. Modulus, if I have any tips on getting better at perspective, do more perspective. Perspective is one of those things, much like any skills, is that if you want to get good at it, you got to do it over and over and over and be active in your mind doing it. If you're just going through the motions, doing perspective, you're not going to learn anything. But it's the same with anatomy. If you're just copying the reference and not trying to learn what you're actually drawing, you're going to be great at copying. The same with perspective. If you don't try to learn perspective and just copying an image, you're going to get great at copying. So what you got to do is when you're practicing perspective, the more you try to break it down, the more you try to understand it, the more you push your knowledge in 2-point, 1-point, 3-point perspective, the easier you're going to be able to understand what you're doing. And you also have to keep in mind that with a new skill, it's mileage, and only to get better through mileage is doing. So do all the possible ways you can imagine doing perspective. Try it, learn it, figure it out, reverse engineer it. You don't want to be just copying. You want to understand what you're copying. So the more understanding you, or attempt of understanding you apply to learning, your learning process, the faster it's going to go. And easier and better that knowledge is going to stick. Vonda, the challenge is going pretty okay. I got what, a week left. I'm doing the last character sketch with the doctor, but I am thinking that I might not have time to finish it this year. But I'm gonna do my best to try to squeeze it in. It's gonna be interesting. Gonna be a fun thing to do. How are you, by the way? Hurri and Modulus, yeah, for sure. I'm a strong believer of you're only as good as your worst drawing, uh, and uh, and if you're scared of failing, you're never gonna face that worst drawing and minimizing the level of your worst drawing, right? You gotta fail. You gotta look at your failing and go, why did I fail? And when you figured out why you failed, learn from it and don't do it again. And every time you fail and analyze and see where your weakness lies, and you practice on the weakness, you're minimizing your weakest point, right? I don't think she needs her hair up. Actually, I think I need to change that. She needs to be a little bit more wild. Maybe some sort of like tied up, but not like institution lady hair bun. Oh, you've got a daughter, boss. That's fantastic. Cheers, fund. Yeah, it's a fun effect. It's a fun effect. Um, I love like painting with light. All right, everybody. Time's up. That's it for today. It was a really good fun. I think we do have our last character. I think it's just a matter of um, finishing them all now. I think as a townfolk, um, I think what I gotta do though is not cover her face, but show that she can cover her face, if you know what I mean. So what I think I've got to do is show personality more with the face, um, have the have the mask or whatever scarf folded down so that we see her more and thus showing more personality. I think with a mask covering her face, she's not going to read as a character. She's just going to be anonymous. So by showing the face with the mask down, I think that'll be good. Cheers. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Exactly, Kristalos. That's why knowledge and implementation of knowledge is two separate things, and they are equally important when you're practicing. A wee month. Oh my god. That's fantastic. Great news and congratulations. What is the art gun doing? Uh, she's doing modeling. Alright. She's a little bit hectic, and she probably will go to bed soon, but nevertheless, let's raid the art gun. She's a cool girl, doing lots of cool art, great painter, 3D person, very much like Overwatch style. So let's raid her, give her some love. Make sure to click follow on her. She's a great artist. Have a good one. See you tomorrow morning. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Thanks everyone. Ah, outro.